Imagine this. You walk into your kitchen. You open the fridge. And sitting there is something scientists are increasingly worried about. Not because it's poisonous. Not because it's illegal. But because millions of people eat it every single day without realizing what it's doing to their bodies. In fact, there's a good chance you've already eaten it today. And here's the disturbing part. Some researchers believe this one category of food may be playing a major role in the global obesity crisis, rising rates of diabetes, heart disease, and even certain forms of cancer. So what is it? Before I tell you, consider this. If you traveled back 100 years and showed your great-grandparents the average grocery store, they would barely recognize most of it. Brightly colored cereals, instant meals, flavored drinks, packaged snacks, protein bars, frozen desserts, thousands of products designed by scientists, engineers, and marketing teams. Food that looks normal to us, but food that never existed for almost all of human history. And that might be the problem. Because for decades, we've been asking the wrong question. People argue about carbs versus fats, sugar versus calories, keto versus vegan. But what if none of those are the main issue? What if the real problem isn't what's in our food, but what has been done to it? Scientists call these products ultra-processed foods. And once you understand how they're designed, you may never look at food the same way again. Here's where things get strange. Ultra-processed foods aren't just made to taste good. They're engineered to be irresistible. Teams of experts spend years creating what they call the bliss point. The perfect combination of sugar, fat, salt, texture, and flavor that keeps you reaching for one more bite. And another. And another. Ever opened a bag of chips planning to eat a few, then suddenly realized half the bag was gone? That's not a lack of willpower. That's exactly what the product was designed to do. But it gets even more fascinating. Researchers discovered that people eating diets high in ultra-processed foods often consume hundreds more calories per day, even when they aren't trying to overeat. Why? Because these foods can be eaten faster. They're softer, easier to chew, less filling. Before your brain receives the signal that you're full, you've already consumed far more than you intended. And that's where the trap begins. Most people think obesity is caused by laziness. But what if millions of people are fighting a battle against products specifically designed to defeat their natural hunger signals? Now here's the part nobody talks about. Your body has an ancient operating system. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans survived food shortages. Calories were rare. Sugar was rare. Highly rewarding foods were rare. Then, almost overnight in evolutionary terms, we created foods that deliver massive amounts of pleasure with almost no effort. Your brain never had time to adapt. And today, food companies know exactly how that system works. But the consequences go far beyond weight gain. Emerging research has linked high consumption of ultra-processed foods to inflammation, poor gut health, cardiovascular problems, and numerous other health concerns. Scientists are still uncovering the full picture, and some of the findings are alarming. Yet here's the twist. This isn't a story about never eating your favorite snack again. Because the healthiest people in the world don't live on perfect diets. They simply understand one important rule. Make real food your default. Think about it. An apple doesn't need a marketing campaign. A boiled egg doesn't need a mascot. Fresh vegetables don't need a list of ingredients. Real food is usually recognizable, simple, and surprisingly satisfying once your taste buds adjust. In fact, studies suggest that when people reduce ultra-processed foods for several weeks, cravings often begin to change. Foods that once seemed boring suddenly become enjoyable again. It's almost as if your brain is remembering what food was supposed to taste like.